everybody. Welcome to another episode of Carolyn Talks Television. I'm Carolyn Topol, and I'm here once again with my terrific assistant and co-host, Rachel Arnett.
Hi, everyone. How are you?
And today we have a lot of interesting topics to go, including some that I'm going to just wait a smidge to introduce because we are taping this as of less than 24 hours since the Golden Globes aired. It was on CBS last night, and I was very excited because here we are on network television, and we're going to get the glitz and glamour, and they're talking about going back to, they had these wonderful presenters listed, and going back to really a good, solid balance of everybody who was in, going to be nominated and such. And then they picked their host. And I guess...
10 days ago, according to his monologue, or 11 or 12 now.
Right. And, they couldn't get some of the big names because they were still waiting to see just how much the Golden Globes had become truly inclusive. Mm-hmm. And I get it. Yeah. I really do get it. So my guess is when they ran out of the first tier and they went to the second tier, they probably got to the third tier and they got a stand-up comic, Joe Coy.
Mm-hmm. And to be fair, he is a relatively big name with Netflix specials and other things like that.
Right.
I agree with you. Not, I would say, in like the top echelon of earners by any means.
Right.
It was not a great night for him at all.
No, the monologue started and all I thought of was, wow. First of all, my first thought was, I'm not laughing.
Yeah.
And when you get a monologue from a stand-up comic, you should be rolling on the floor with laughter by at least 60 seconds in to a big show that's being aired all over the world.
Yeah. And I think it's hard for me too, because for me, I will never get over the beautiful pairing that was Tina Fey and Amy Poehler as hosts.
That was
outstanding. Their chemistry was so perfect. And even to this day, to this day, I say like it's been eons that I've been watching the Golden Globes. But Will Ferrell always presents with another SNL cast member, and they're always hilarious together. That's would be another beautiful combination.
Although I think they know that he's really a loose cannon sometimes.
That's fair.
I think that's personally, it's a guess, probably an educated guess, that's why Ricky Gervais is no longer doing Golden Globes, because he was somewhat of a loose cannon, and when told to tone it down when they asked him back, that went for about 20 seconds, and then he said, yeah, well, whatever. Mm-hmm. You want me to tone it down? Not happening.
You already told me it's going to be my last year hosting?
Yeah.
And he really,
Yeah. So, but Joe Coy went from not funny to...
like blatantly offensive and not funny.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you could be offensive. You could be someone who's kind of picking at people and making sort of these side jokes, like a Ricky Gervais would do. Mm-hmm. But he's funny. Yeah. I would laugh.
And there was a lot that was just uncomfortable. It was probably the first time that I can remember a monologue being delivered where there were moments where you could tell jokes were supposed to hit, where there was absolute silence in the room. Like it was palpably uncomfortable at home. So I can't even imagine being in that room.
And you could tell people tried to laugh, and at one point he even points out, you see, you're laughing at the jokes I did, not the ones the writers did for me, and all I thought of was, wow, they're just back and you're throwing them under the bus already. Not a good look on anybody, because I'm telling you, your writers, probably not long for you after that. It was just...
Well, and it was just bizarre, given that the entire Golden Globes focus and push has been, we are going to improve our diversity, equity, and inclusion. We're going to make sure that we're bringing all voices in. But then they allowed jokes to be written for the monologue that really just weren't good. And like I said, just there are, like you said, there are ways to be offensive and funny, and to kind of skirt the line because you're funny. And there was no skirting the line. There was just, I'm going to say something offensive, and then when it's quiet, I'm going to blame you and the writers. It was just weird.
It was very weird and
Yeah.
uncomfortable, which was sad because, interestingly enough, on the flip side, the presenters not only were funnier than the host, because they had some really cute routines that they did, and those were funny, and they were engaging. And all I thought of was, good writing does that.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, the presenters in general, I really enjoyed.
And the other thing I enjoyed was that this was a show where whoever did the voting did do a lot of voting across the board. But if you looked at the winners, it wasn't particularly diverse. The primary winners, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched the Golden Globes, silence your TV just for a few seconds here, and I'll kind of wave at you all when you can turn on the sound. The lead movies were Barbie and Oppenheimer. Definitely not diverse, even though Barbie does have a diverse
Yeah, I would say Barbie
cast.
was more diverse, but not the winners from Barbie.
Right,
Yeah.
correct. And then Succession owned the TV.
Oh, yeah.
The TV
Yeah,
stuff.
I think TV stuff in general really this year was not very diverse winners, although Ayo Edebiri won her first award for The Bear, which I want her to win awards for everything
Okay.
she's been in.
So now you can unsilence.
Yeah.
Hi, we're back.
We're back.
We're back. No more spoilers at the moment. What we will tell you, however, is what we're really going to chat about now that we've done our little edge on the Golden Globes. Make sure you watch the presenters. They were great. They were the best part of the show,
You can
to be
skip the
honest.
monologue, it's fine.
Yeah, it's all good. Visual search is a great button. If you don't know where it is, find it. This would be the right
Yep.
time. We are going to talk about something that's a sort of an odd subject, but keeps coming up, especially when you have all these award shows. Comedies, dramas, and wait a minute, there's no category called dramedy, but for me, I'm almost confused by some of them where they land. And then when they put musical with comedy, and it might be a more dramatic overlap, it's a very interesting phenomena. And Rachel, you were saying you could share with us a little bit about the difference and what
Yeah.
we're really looking for in the
So
difference.
when you're thinking classical theater, comedy versus drama, the big thing to remember for a comedy is that it truly does not matter what's happening to these characters. The end is a happy ending. So you can have a play where almost all of the main cast dies, but as long as the main character marries the person she loves at the end, it's considered a comedy. And that goes back to like the ancient Greek plays and then through Shakespeare and everything. So then you have drama, which does not always have a happy ending, is much more based in the reality and the rough spots of life. But this new kind of category, dramedy or dark comedy, combines those dramatic elements but maintains the happy ending. So that's when you really hit. So, the 30-minute comedies that are on all the time, those are pretty easy to label comedies. They're funny, they have a happy ending, and the other piece is that consequences are short-lived in comedies.
Very true. I mean, you look at some of the ones I've been talking about recently, Young Sheldon, Ghosts, there's not a question mark here. These are straight, unadulterated comedies. But then you look at things, and I'm going to throw one out there for you because, folks, it is actually on ABC. They're doing a special thing right now. I don't know if they'll do all the seasons or they're just going to stick with season one. But Only Murders in the Building, which is a Hulu show.
Steve Martin,
Martin Short.
Martin Short, and Selena Gomez.
Okay, crazy.
And Meryl Streep just
Meryl
got added
Streep
for the
just
second
got
season.
added. I think they're in their third or fourth season. That's
Okay.
how long it's been on.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, Hulu, Disney Plus, everybody's got their relationship. There's Disney in here, Disney umbrella. So somehow they negotiated it where it is currently starting with the first season last week. I'm sure you can on demand it briefly, but do it fast. It's on regular ABC TV Tuesday
very
nights.
nice.
Last week they did 3 episodes, so I'm assuming they're going to do 3 episodes this week. And all the episodes are like, I don't know, 40 to 50 minutes. It's a regular
so that's
streaming kind of show. Only they fit it into a certain block of time because they do some commercial, but not really.
Oh,
I haven't had to deal with that
makes sense.
much. So they really are doing this very special thing.
It makes sense because not everyone can get the streaming channels. And with Disney Plus and Hulu and ABC all being owned by the same company, it makes
Right.
sense that they'll start sharing some of the streaming things that they can.
Right. You
On
know,
TV.
when Hulu started merging their
Like their catalog,
content
yeah.
with Disney, wow, that was a really nice perk. So now I am going to tell you, I started watching Only Murders in the Building, 3 episodes, I'm hooked.
That's awesome.
Which
I
is
have
not-
not started it yet, but I know that I'm going to.
Okay.
It's one of those shows that is always on my list, and it's just never the one I choose.
Now this
I
is a
need to choose
murder
it.
mystery. There's no question about it. It is a murder mystery.
So you would assume it would be a drama.
Drama. I can't tell you how often I laughed. Because when you put Steve Martin, who also, by the way, helps write the show,
Well,
Steve Martin, Martin Short in, and then you even get Selena Gomez, who, because of her age, they have written the best digs in the world against the other 2 characters, who are old men,
yeah.
in her eyes for sure. I go from laughing to, oh my God, and I'm thinking, and we don't know if this is going to be such a happy ending. Remember, someone did die. Part of this, it is a murder. And I'm thinking, okay, now with your formula, maybe something will be happy in the end. But right now, all I know is I'm watching a murder mystery where I'm spending a great deal of time going, and then a great deal of time going, oh my God, that's fabulous. I love it. And laughing my head off. That says a lot, first of all, about the quality of the writing.
Yeah, that it's hitting both pieces equally.
And to me, that's a dramedy. And I don't know how it will end because fortunately I haven't been spoiled. And I don't want to let myself be spoiled by knowing what will happen at the end of the season 1 if that's all they give me. But I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this a lot. I would recommend it to everybody. Grab it while you can. And hopefully it will go further.
I feel very similarly about The Bear.
Okay, go for
Which,
it.
if you have not seen The Bear yet, for me, I think it's one of the best shows on TV in the last
Tell
10
them
years.
a little bit about what it is.
So the story of The Bear, the first season is about a chef who comes back to Chicago after working in a very high-end restaurant to help run his family business after his older brother died by suicide. And so it's built on this really tragic story.
So right now I'm thinking
and
drama. My head goes right to drama.
And so much of the episodes are there. It's filmed. It's a single camera show, but it's filmed. Well, maybe not. But it's filmed so intensely that you believe you're in the kitchen. Like when you're hearing the sizzling, you're seeing the fire. It almost feels like you can smell the heat, smell the food, feel the heat. Like it's
Wow.
that intense. And then there are moments that are so absurd that you laugh, but it doesn't feel like a lighthearted laugh a lot of the time. It's like, it's that laugh that you let out of like relief, almost like, whew, oh God, they survived that, haha.
And just saying, this is on FX, so you can
It's
all
on
get
FX,
this on
yeah.
your show, TV.
But towards the end of the first season, and then again towards the end of the second season, there are major resolutions to things, and there are, I wouldn't call them happy endings, but they're peaceful resolutions to things.
Are they?
So that's what kind of makes it. But when I saw it was nominated under comedies, it blew my mind at first because so much of what the show is based on is the drama, but it qualifies as a comedy because although there are consequences, negative consequences for the characters frequently, it's all resolved peacefully at the end, and whatever they want to happen usually happens. Even if up until the moment before the finale ends, you don't think it's going to.
And see, to me, all I think about that, if you're putting me on the edge of my seat,
The edge.
where I don't know how this is going to turn out, and there's drama, and it's based on someone returning home after a sibling's suicide, my brain says this is drama, and yet it's listed as a comedy.
Well, and so much of both the drama and comedy on the show is based on the relationships between the characters.
Okay.
And just their individual journeys. But like some of the moments on the show, you really sit there, like I have cried while watching the show, and then 20 seconds later been like laughing through those tears. But I think the show does a really good thing in like balancing, because that's what life is. Life is almost never fully tragedy or fully comedy. And I think shows like The Bear and maybe shows like Only Murders in the Building do a good job of balancing both. And I think that's what makes them dark comedies and dramedies, as opposed to the pure fluff comedy of the past where there was no basis in reality. Like this character did something that in real life they would probably go to jail for, but on the show it's like, pfft.
Well, and the interesting thing is we've gotten away from the term sitcom. That's something I've noticed. Nobody's really talking about the sitcom. And in my brain, what this is reflecting back to a little bit, this arc, for lack of a better term, of going from comedy to dramedy, especially. I think we can think about Neil Simon.
Yeah. I think so, because there's this, when I was doing improv back in the day, one of the things they talked about all the time is the truth in comedy. That comedy came from finding those moments of absolute truth. And what Neil Simon did very well was figure out how that character, as he has developed that character, would genuinely respond to a certain circumstance. And it's funny because we can see that character doing that. It's like, oh yeah, of course the guy is doing that.
Right. And that's what I was thinking about as I was watching. This is not new.
No.
This is really a craft that has truly developed, which is why so many things I think are being dramedies. Now, once again, full disclosure, I'm not a Ted Lasso fan. Partly because I don't have Apple TV. So for me to be watching Apple TV Plus was not going to be happening unless I went to someone else's home. But my understanding is that the characters, the two main characters that everybody expected to be together, weren't in the end. I mean, it was all over. If you haven't heard that, I'm sorry. This is really not a spoiler alert, because I didn't even follow the show when I couldn't get away from it in social media.
Yeah.
That it was such a big deal that they didn't unite these two characters, yet it's still a comedy.
Yeah. It really comes down to, is the resolution, whether it's a resolution that's fully positive or not, does it make sense for the character? Is the character moving forward in a positive direction? So for both of those characters, even though they did not end up together in the finale of the show, and I'm guessing it's Roy and Keeley are the characters that you're referencing, they both moved forward in really positive ways, even though it wasn't together. Like,
Yes.
both of them had made such growth that it was a comedy in that.
Okay, let's look at some of the dramas now.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put it right out there. Something like The Morning Show.
Apple TV as well.
Apple TV Plus. Isn't that Jennifer Aniston and Reese Witherspoon? I mean, first of all, I could watch them read the phone book for a half hour, 45 minutes, and I'm sure they do it so well, I would be engaged. But I know that there are, and having not watched it, but I already know, there are from others that there are so many one-liners in this, and that the butting heads activity is humor.
Yep. Well, and there are comedies with elements of drama. There are dramas with elements of comedy. It comes down to the end. That
So
ending.
it really is coming down to the ending. Yeah. Well, I guess one of the things that I know has been still very recognized as a drama is The Crown. It just finished its final season. It dropped recently if you haven't watched it. It's a beautiful final season. I think I have one episode to go. I'm trying to stretch it out personally, so I'm watching only like one at a time because I really enjoyed it. But look, there is no spoiler alert here. We know how it ends. We know what happened to the Princess of Wales, to Diana, Princess of Wales. There was no, but yet there's humor, there's engagement, there's sarcasm. And I attribute this part, in a great part, to significantly good writing. Now, would I call this a dramedy? No. Because this really is based on real life. And the saddest part is, as much as I am a Royals fan, I'm one of those people, I buy the books about they're not such a happy family. It's really kind of, I see more why they, people are like, well, look at all their riches. What do they have to complain about? Their lives really aren't their own.
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
And I don't think I truly understood that phrase because I thought it was, yeah, right, whatever. You're just like making excuses for bad behavior kind of thing. Or drama. I see it better now. And they continue to remind us it's fiction, whatever, or embellished reality. Yes, I'm sure The Crown is embellished reality. But still, we know what the reality is. And that's kind of a sad thing to say, is that now that fits what you're telling me is the description of a dramedy. Now, let's think about some things that you might call true dramedies.
So Shameless for me would be probably one of the clearest ones. I mean, that show.
That was on Showtime, wasn't it? Or was it HBO? It was one of the two.
Showtime.
Okay.
First of all, William H. Macy's probably tour de force character, like the character he's going to be remembered for, despite the fact that he's been in probably 400 movies and TV shows.
And he's an outstanding character actor.
Yeah, it's so funny because even after watching him on so many seasons of Shameless, I can watch him in other things and be like, oh yeah, totally different character. And I believe him in all of those characters.
Yes, he's able to change those, yes.
Yeah, and so Shameless for me is a perfect kind of mixture of the two because it has its peaceful resolutions at the end, but in order to get there, good Lord, what the family goes through. The number of times there's someone in and out of prison, in a fight, they're dealing with abject poverty, and the humor is in how they deal with their circumstances. But when you take a step back and you just review, like, if you didn't watch the show and just like read a plot summary, you'd be horrified of what these people have to go through.
Yes.
It would be genuinely horrifying.
Truly, anything that could happen to someone who is, and I'm trying to be very, very polite here, low income, and dealing with the terrible side of life in many ways, they had it. They had it. They suffered from it. And yet you laughed in every episode. And I thought, what's wrong with me? Why am I laughing?
But it was meant to make you feel that way. It's almost a show full of anti-heroes where we love them.
Words, yes.
And we, like, Mickey especially on the show was a character who was a secondary character that I absolutely loved, who became a main character.
A main character because the character was so engaging.
So engaging. And probably for a lot of people, one of their favorite characters on the show. But good Lord, what that kid went through. And the number of super tragic and horrific things that were a part of his younger life, and then choices that he made that were terrible. And there's a part of you that's cheering these characters on as they're doing things that you would never yourself do. because you get the context of why they're making those decisions. And in that moment,
Yeah.
that's when I think a lot of the comedy comes out, because we can relate to like, oh yeah, in that situation, I'd probably also say that stupid thing. And like,
And I hope people, when you're looking at TV now, you're not looking for either a true, like the old world things, the true dramas that they used to call, the cop shows, the lawyer shows, back to Law and Orders. That's a drama. No one's ever going to call a Law and Order show a comedy. There's not even when they say side something humorous, you don't even want to laugh because they're all tragic things that they're dealing with. And then you have the flip side with the true sitcom, which I do believe is like a Young Sheldon in today's world.
yeah,
Or,
some shows are just funny, and that's okay.
or
it is
looking
great.
back, or even like you talk about comedy or musical or entertainment, Saturday Night Live.
Yeah.
It's never going to be anything but funny. It's going to be great in that respect. So you can always count on those things. Think about that. I am going to end our show today, and I may put you on the spot.
That's
so
okay.
get ready. I'm going to give a recommendation because something just went from 12 seconds on Netflix, so it could qualify for the award shows as a movie, on Netflix and theaters, to Netflix on
Okay.
TV. Maestro.
My parents just saw that and said it was unreal. Really loved it.
I loved it. My husband loved it. We also know people who did not love it. And I do believe in some ways it's almost generational, interestingly enough. And we saw it for what we thought it was. But if you haven't seen it, this is Leonard Bernstein's life with his wife. Despite the fact that there was no question he was, if nothing else, bisexual, if not gay. So it's never actually spelled out. But the family knew. If you had one, but I would recommend it. It is worth the time sitting and watching this movie and seeing what you think of it. Because I think it's a fairly interesting and probably pretty good rendition of what docudrama of what happened.
Okay.
With
Very
a
cool.
lot of, stuff put in the background. The family, by the way, approved the movie.
Beautiful.
Anything you want to make sure people don't miss out starting the year?
There's just so many shows that are coming back for their next seasons that I'm so excited about. They've started advertising Abbott Elementary again.
That's right.
All of The Equalizer with Queen Latifah is coming back. All of my shows. I'm just excited.
And Tracker with
So
Justin
happy.
Hartley
Yes.
is going to start in February.
Yeah, so February seems to be the date. So when you're watching this, enjoy.
Have fun. And my co-host and I are thrilled to be back for our next season now. 2024 will be a great one.
I think so.
From Carolyn Talks Television, bye-bye.